is a busy week ahead for Africa. Some of the continent's biggest companies are set to report their results. Amongst those expected to report early in the week are platinum metals producer Amplats and Africa's top iron ore miner Kumba. Dangote Cement and Kenyan-based East African breweries are also reporting later in the week as well. So busy earnings week. For more on this, Bloomberg's Africa correspondent Jennifer Zabasajja joins us from Johannesburg. Jen, what are you watching out for?
Yeah, Joumanna, I mean, we are getting a lot of second quarter results on the western side, but here in the region, as you mentioned, we are paying close attention to a lot of these major companies for their half-year results. So you mentioned there today, really the big question, the big thing that we're going to be paying attention to is Anglo American's platinum unit, which is called Amplats. It has been in the news for quite a while this year, of course, because the company is gearing up to be spun off of its parent company, Anglo American. So the big question will be whether or not their earnings will continue to hold up. We got their second quarter production estimates, which beat city estimates. We'll see whether or not, though, earnings will be able to hold that up, especially because we've seen PGM prices decline. Then we'll get Kumba on Tuesday. That's Africa's top iron ore producer. We'll again see whether or not this weaker demand from China and Europe is having an effect on the company. And then finally, in East Africa, we will get Diageo's Kenya unit, East African breweries. And the key thing here is, of course, we've been paying close attention to what has been happening in Kenya, what President Ruto has attempted to do in order to bring down the deficit in the country. We'll see whether or not that has had an effect on the company, and also whether or not some of his proposals and also the unrest that we've seen in the country, whether or not that is going to impact their forward guidance. So yes, a busy week for us here in the region.
Yeah, certainly really interesting, especially Anglo American, their subsidiary kicking things off. So that's on the earnings front. Monetary policy, what are we expecting this week, some of the major central banks?
Right. So big thing will be on Tuesday when we get Nigerians, the interest rate decision. And that is, of course, coming after we did see inflation in Nigeria quicken for an 18th straight month. It is north of 32%. And so the question will be whether or not we're going to see the central bank hike again. Of course, last month I did speak to the central bank governor, who said his focus is on bringing inflation down. So the question will be, what is the messaging that we get from the governor? And then on Wednesday, we're waiting to see South Africa's, we're going to wait to see how South Africa's inflation is, the trajectory of inflation. Last week, we heard from the South African Reserve Bank governor. His focus is on bringing inflation down to the midpoint target in order to potentially get to rate cuts in the fall. And so whether or not we actually see that, and really where we see inflation at, will be very key to what we see sort of coming later on in the year from the MPC.